Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my early morning stream where we're going to be drawing a Naga this morning. So I hope you've got your coffee with you and we're going to have a nice early start. I've done a preliminary sketch of the outline of what I'm going to draw today. I've got me a nice big mug of coffee. So why Naga? Well, Naga's been one of those creatures that I saw way back in the Frozen Throne. Good morning, Kostek. How are you this fine morning? I hope you're doing well. Not quite so early for you though, is it? You're an hour ahead. Right, okay, so yes, as I was saying, Naga have been around. Oh, I've got that hydrated bot still in there. I wonder if we can, don't need that. Perhaps adjust head camera. Oh, we're getting forehead camera. There we go. So I can turn that down a bit. There we go. Get a bit of the microphone arm in there, but it's trying to adjust it. There we go. Trying to get everything in there. There we go. And where's my... What do we do for this one? We want to do that, I think. There we go. We don't need that bot in the chat. There we go. There we go. All good. Right. Is the background music alright levels, Costo? Can't quite tell because I've got them turned down a fair amount. It's supposed to be really, really subtle anyway. It's just zone music. Actually going to start super duper small here. I'm going to go with, let's not put that in shadow. There we go. So my normal routine, start with the eyes. It's going to be that. You don't hear it. Okay, let's see if I can turn it up a little bit. There we go. Is that too loud, too quiet? Good morning, Rindina. We are drawing a Naga today. So it's going to be one of the male Nagas, one of the Myrmidons, in a combat pose. I got a reference picture I got off the WoW model viewer. Which looks like this. This is my reference picture. So we're going to work on this, but a lot more detailed. None of this sort of like polygonal stuff going on here. We're going to accentuate all the snakiness. I haven't put a trident in this one. It's just going to be mainly. I mean, I could put one in that hand and have it coming straight across here. Maybe I could embellish that one on later. Or if I put it into Photoshop, I'll be able to digitally put it in. The main thing is I'm going to use something like an iguana. The marine iguana is my reference. I have to get some pictures up of marine, because marine iguanas are cool with all their little scales and the way they just squirt out the seawater out their nostrils. The main thing with this dude is going to be the eyes. Like that. They're going to have one of those nictating membranes like crocodiles have. It's like that film that goes over the eye. And then they have almost like rings of bags or scales underneath, like that. And then something drawing down to the nose, and then let's do big nostrils. Do something like that. So what's everyone's plans for the weekend? Anything good? Lots of WoW gold making, I hope. Check your auctions. Not going to be able to check mine till later, obviously. I want to map out some big scales across this bridge of his nose, because it's kind of like a triangle. There and there. And this side. Goes like that. And that goes like that. There's the basics. Right. What else have we got? Let's get some reference images up. Let's find me a nice marine iguana. I've got one, actually. Where have I got one on? I've probably got one on my actual PC. Let's see if we can put one in. Reference. Find something nice. Resources. Reference images. Yeah. Hey, Death Arrow. How are you? Thanks ever so much for stopping by. I hope you're doing well this fine early Saturday morning. Or very early Saturday morning if you're in the US. Today we're drawing a Naga, just looking up for some nice reference files. Let's go to trusty Google, search up marine iguana. Marine iguana, there we go. Right, what have we got? They got some really nice faces. The good thing about doing something like a Naga rather than Greymane, which we did last time, is this is all about the scales, so it's a very different kind of drawing. And this guy's got those really nice tentacles, or what would you call them, those bits that flop down around him. They're not really tentacles, are they? They're more like dangly bits, dreadlocks almost. To get some darkness in here so people can actually see. This camera's not very deep at the moment. Deep, not very clear, because I'm sketching really, really lightly just to get my main outlines done. But if I do this first, and then the eyes, then we've got something to work with. That's a harder line. We'll do that one. Highlight, keep the eyes sparkly. Teeth, I haven't done teeth. I need to think about the teeth. Think about the actual line of the mouth is the main thing. So that comes up and down, because that's a typical dinosaur-y type mouth shape, and it also fits around. It's almost snake-like, and then you know those egg-eating snakes when they dislocate their jaws, it almost looks like extra super duper wide. And then this one gonna go round. That should give us at least a kind of, if I can hold that up, that gives us at least the basic shape of the mouth. And then we're going to need lots and lots of lovely Naga teeth. Once I've got this outline done, I can think about shading in around it. I want to keep the teeth super sharp. They're also quite rounded like pegs. Zoom mouse gone. Hold on. Yeah. Right, what else have we got? We want the actual main teeth, which are probably going to come down there, and this one, the mirror of it, is going to be in here, so you're just going to see the tip of it because his head's tilting down a little bit. Unfortunately, when I colour this in, you're not going to see that so well. But his side teeth, these ones, are really well defined. And this one, because these are going to, like a crocodile, you know how crocodiles, they mesh together where there's one gap as the other meets, and then another one between those two, but not as big as that one. And we can mesh that one and to lock it in there. And then we need to do some more teeth. I wonder if I need to move this a little bit higher And then you can see the details whilst I'm doing this, because you're not going to get the bigger picture till later. That's kind of like how it evolves, really. Right. Okay. Any more teeth? I think we should have something small just coming down here. Then we can put something bigger in there, and then some tiny ones. And so I'm going to keep this gap, I think, because there's jewels coming in there. This palette comes in here, and then there. So that's the size, and then a tongue. They have the false tongues, because that's the snake-like stuff. So that's going to be just tucked in his mouth, like that, I reckon. What have we got there? Okay. Hey Emery, how are you? Thanks for stopping by the stream. Nice and early for you. How's things going? I'm going to think about some scales now, because I want to highlight this shape of the eye with some big scales. Otherwise you're not going to get much detail, well, not much definition. And then big bony plates over the top, like that. Oh, it's 9:30, so it's not too bad. You're well. Sold 3 panthers. Oh, that's awesome, Emery. Is that all overnight? Getting some really good sales for those panthers, aren't you? Congrats on those. Yeah, that's awesome. So what's the profits like on the panthers? Is it about 30,000, or is it more than that? Don't know how much the costs are. Yeah, I've got some scales coming in now, which really helps push the eyes around. And we need to do the other side. Match it, scale size for scale size. Do something like that. So we've got the ridge. Cost is about 25k. It depends on the price, but usually sell them for 35 to 40k. Oh, that's a decent chunk then. You know, it's worth a worthy investment, certainly. 10 to 15k. That's a good chunk, I would say. Kind of okay with that line. I think it's not quite where I'd like it. he's got his two antennae thing here, and then a central I'm going to do a diamond shape scale like that, and then two either side. This one's obviously going to be bigger, like a bump. Mounts are a big deal. Yeah, definitely. I think they're really... It's nice because it's something that's going to be quite significant to someone. You know, someone's buying that for a reason and they want something, you know, that they can ride around on. So, I can understand that. I think if I was actually in a position where I'm spending my gold on anything other than chaos crystals, I would certainly buy a mount. I think the first mount I'd probably buy is the spider mount, because I really like that one. But I'm not splashing out on anything at the moment, because I'm saving all my gold for Battle.net balance to get Battle for Azeroth. What do I want? Another one here, because then we start going into ridges up the back. We also need to do his bottom lip. Which is kind of going to be that, and then start small, make it bigger, join up that line. And lightly draw the face bits there. Okay. Starting to get the outlines done. I think I might do some more outliney bits first, so we can see the shape coming together, and then I'll go back and fill it in. So this, I've got the big spiky bits. So we've got this one coming up. There. And then we've got another two, one in front of the other. I think I'll flare out and go to a little spike on the model. I don't know if that's intended or just to make them look a little bit more substantial. Because this one I've got is a little bit more bent. So it's not just your regular straight shape, because it wants to be a little bit dynamic. And then let's do this side, because then we can really see the shape of his face. Oops. Just move this away. Oh, dropped a pencil. Drop pencil. It's not here at the moment. Right, gonna do that, and then all the way down. And that one. This is where you need a steady hand. If you're right-handed like me, then I draw long lines by going away from me, because then I can use my wrist. It has to be one steady motion otherwise it ends up going jaggedy, and you don't feather it, otherwise you don't get a nice clean line. So once you make a line, you have to commit to it, not go too slow or too fast. And then this one. The music's suitably sinister for this part. What's this one? This is the Dragon Blight zone, apparently, according to my media player. We're getting a bit more Naga shape. So fill that in, and then this comes in like that. And this can be jaggedy because this is supposed to be rough, because they often quite have little cuts in them. So if you do like a dart like that and then back around, they can be jaggedy. Because it's the compressy, feathery bits. Now the jaggedy, the sail fin from here actually comes back on itself. If I do this one down, and this one actually comes round there, and then it goes back on itself. Which looks a bit weird when I'm just drawing a line like that. I'll probably have to rethink that one. And this one, that's actually really thin, because his, I can't actually see those at all. I wonder which way I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually do it here. And then the other one can be hidden behind that, because then it's big sail fin, I think. It's going to come in around the other side, which means this part of the head is actually going to be quite well defined. So I'll do a few lumpy bits there to connect that up, and then that one, and then we can think about his tendrily facey things. Oops, just stuck my headphones, which are going to be really curvy because they're like what's the dude's name in Pirates of the Caribbean with all the tentacles on his face? It's going to be like him. Big, long tentacles. Like that. Davy Jones, that's it. Thank you. And this is the trick. This needs to get slightly fatter, but I don't need to ever go thinner. It has to go tapered. From big to large. and then connect it up. Connect that one up. And connect that one up. So we're getting some real curvy bits. Because then his chin, he's got a couple of chin ones on the model, which are more kind of just dangly straight down ones. That's a bit fat actually. Then his chin, the actual part of his chin is down here and connects up here and goes on a bit of a jawline. More like, I don't want a really thin jaw, I want something kind of not as big as Deathwing or Godzilla, but something that connects that up like that. And then there's the other side of his face things, which I've got swinging round. So it's one great big curve that goes behind this one. If I turn this round, I can do the arc. That, and then the other side joins up. Like that. There's another one. Here's a second one. It's tucking behind. And do I have that dangling round? It's quite stumpy. Probably, looking at the length of it, it would probably come down here somewhere. Something like that, tucking under his chin. Imagine it's coming behind here, kind of here. I'm going to stick it down here. Just a tiny amount. There we go. There's the main facey shape, I think. I need another spine thing. I'm going to stick another one tucking behind his head that goes to the back of his jawline. I mean, the design of these is really nice with the lionfish. Tangely bits. I remember going to the Sea Life Centre in London. Oops. And they had some really, really beautiful lionfish. And I stood there sketching them for ages. But the trouble is they keep moving. It's very hard to get the details down. There we go. So that's... Hopefully you can see that. Let's move it up a little bit. Wrong way. There we go. Which way? That way. So that's the basic shape. And that way. Shape and design coming together. I want to do his shoulder and arm coming out here. But I think I might do some details next. See how this goes. Alright. Double check everything's... Whoops, lost my thing there. Let's make sure that's working. There we go. Right. Where to next? Do I fill in details, or do I draw the rest as an outline? I think if I start drawing this as an outline and coming back to do the details on this side is going to make it a bit difficult. So I'm going to start putting some details in, I think. I'll map them out. First thing to think about is light direction. Now I'm thinking coming in this way, so the light can catch that, which means these scales need shadow on this side. Now I will lose. I'm going to have to go in harder on these because I will lose definition. But then we'll get some shape coming in. Now, because it's not fur, I would think about my texture of my pencil lines. I don't want them to be too scribbly, but it is supposed to be a rough scale. So I am going to do some bits here and then just make sure that I keep the deep shadow bits of the line. Like something like this, I want some long lines. But then we do want some texture in it as well, so especially here, I wonder if we do some sort of scaly impressions. And then put them in something like that. So it's something a bit more interesting. The same with going across here actually. We could do some cross lines over the top. Not quite segmented, but just to give it some impression of it's not all one solid piece. And then we can do lines to say, look, this is actually not flat, this is round. So you do harder bits and then lighter bits. Like that. I don't think you can see the details on my camera, unfortunately, but that's the impression I want to give. Which means that if this is coming over in shadow, these ridges are going to be really dark. So looking at this side, conversely, is going to be really deep shadow. But I want this to be textured still. So I'm going to do little tiny rings, like, you know, those like almost pebble scales. I love this zone music, Dalaran. Really nice. Oh, thank you, Costa. It's very kind of you. Problem here is we're doing everything dark, so you're not going to really see this. But I don't want to just scribble this all in dark, because then you're not getting the scale texture. Even when you're doing something like this dark, you can see some very subtle highlights. The main thing, though, is this eye shape. That's got to be preserved. So I've got to keep this really dark, but keep away from this central eye, because those tiny little bits is what's going to give us. And then I'm going to do a ring. This is why I'm using one of these retractable pencils, is so that I can keep it sharp all the time. The second ring. It's just slightly longer, joining these two up. So this means that even though this is in shadow, we're still picking up the shapes of all the scales. I can see that a bit more. Can't quite see it, but it's kind of super ring scales. You start small. You want really small scales around the eyes, because it's got some flexibility to the skin. You can draw some serious stick figures. Excellent. I was saying that on the other stream, that the other creator stream. Stick figures are awesome because you can get you can do really nice flip book animations with them. And you just let your, I mean, there's the whole game genre has come out from that now. The stick figure fighter. Do these scales more these ones definitely need something. They need to get their shape done. So I want to do follow this line. So I'm thinking about the contours, and then make sure I do the dark bit, and then do it again, so we're getting some texture in this, like that. But we want the shape of this to come through, so I'm just going over the blacker lines. We'll do the shape, and these are just doing the... I'm keeping a little bit of space around here because that could look like you've got the main light coming this way, but you normally get bounce light coming from the other way. So if I'm keeping just a very, very fine line of white space as I'm filling this in, so what that means is it's a bit like the bounce light. Now if I was doing this in colour, I would do this a different colour, like a complementary colour. Say it was the main light had a very yellowy, like sunlight hue to it, then this bounce light I would do a much cooler blue complementary colour, because it looks cool, and shadows are usually quite cool in like temperature. This makes these scales shine, gives them a bit of dimensionality, but then I'm going to go in here darker so that this isn't lost, and then that stands out a bit more. I think for this guy it's going to be all about the scales mainly. And thinking about this line, we did do some lines across here. I wasn't too happy with those, to be honest. They're a bit undefined. I think it's better slightly more filled in. They're a bit too segmented, so I might just go over those to take the definition out a little bit, like that. Oh, we got a suggestion for another session. Okay, Costo, yeah, I'm all ears. Good morning, Sleepy, or good evening for you. I'm not sure what the time is over where you are. But welcome to the stream, thanks for stopping by. Today we're doing Naga. Murloc. Yes. We could do a Murloc, yes, definitely. You just woke up, so morning is appropriate, though it's 5 PM. Okay, Sleepy, that works for me. Lots of coffee after waking up, I think. Which one to do next? I want to connect this up a little bit. So I'm thinking, well, I know what I could do. Let's turn this round. This guy, you know, we did this thing with the scales. I reckon like a rounded shape is going to be much better, because this is going to give us, so the light's coming, I'll turn the page around, so the light's coming from here, so I want the main light to catch it here, so this is all going to be white up this edge, but then the bounce light that's coming up here is also going to be white. So, and I'm turning it round and doing bendy strokes because this is tubular in shape, but it's also slightly rough. So I'm going with that kind of shape, I think, with darkness here. I think that will look way better than this version. I'm not so happy with that version. So I'll do that, and then the strokes aren't exact. do follow. Going to get quite tiny here. Still want the highlight. Probably go more. Can lose a bit of the bounce light because it's obviously the key light is stronger. Do that gently in and go to the end. Trying to keep these bendy, even though they're tiny, tiny strokes. I think that gives us a much better impression that these are rounded, and this bit obviously isn't surrounded. But I'm going to keep the textural lines going across it. Just more straight, perhaps. And then the bottom light. So that's the difference of the. Oops, which way are we going? That way. That's the difference of the two. I think this one, you probably can't see it so well, has better detail in it than this one, which is more segmented. But then I need to balance the two of them out now, because this one's looking really dark and this one's looking quite light. So now that I've done all those bendy ones, I can probably contrast it by doing some straight lines, which gives it some smoothness but also allows me to darken the whole thing up. And change the values. Like that. And then this side. I'm going to want quite a bit darker. Maybe even take that out completely. And hopefully my other lines that I've just done, I'll put a few more in, will still come through, but then that line needs to be dark. There we go. So that's lowered that one down. Ideally that point and that point are a bit off. This should be lower. That's not going to work because that one is not high enough. And then because we've just done all those bendy lines, I'm going to do a few here to match that one and cover up those singular lines that I did. And then they kind of match a bit better. It's one of those things that until you start doing it, you don't really know how you're going to do it. But if you change how you're going to do it, you've got to match one with the other. So even though this is going probably darker than I would want, it's at least getting the shape correct. Now I've got a technique for each of these. I know how I'm going to do them. Have some coffee. It's got a little bit cold now, unfortunately. So that's the two. Which way? That way. Oh, that way. There we go. That's the design coming together. where it is at the moment. That's the first hour drawing. Progress, definitely. Let's do these whilst we're doing that. So that one was in light, whereas these, there's no way this is going to be in light because you've got the translucent fin here, so the key light here is going to be blocked up until there, and then that top edge is going to be highlight. But this bottom line, if anything, is just going to be the bounce light. Oh, I've got a cat staring at me. I think she wants to come in. Hold on. There we go, both cats are in. Good morning, Pointy Gnome, how are you? How's things doing? So sorry to hear about your ferret the other day. Sounds like a pretty tough week. Between you and Costa, it's been pretty rough, I'd say, unfortunately. But life goes on, I guess. Yes, I know what it's like. It's hard. It's hard, but we do our best to keep moving forwards. Things here are good, thank you very much. Doing some Naga details, which is fun. Haven't checked any of my auctions this morning, so they probably all expired. Because was I on yesterday? No, I don't think I was. So, yeah, I imagine all my auctions have expired. So I've got a lot to do tonight when I come back on tonight. I might have to go on a little bit earlier and check my auctions. The other thing that happened though last night was me and my son watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which I hadn't seen yet, which was really, really good. We really enjoyed watching that. I know I'm a bit behind on my films, so I don't go to the cinema anymore. But it was really good to watch it. Just the two of us, whilst my wife and daughter were out. Bit of father-son time. So this one's super duper shadowed in this line because it's being the key light's being shaded by this fin, so you're not going to see that. But the bounce light is coming here, but it's not going to be as bright as it is there. I'm going to tone it down a bit. My son is sort of mid to late teens sleepy, so he's just the right age to start really properly enjoying sort of like these kind of films and sort of get the humour a bit more. And my daughter's a little bit younger, But she doesn't. She's not so bothered on those kind of films. She knows the kind of stuff she likes. Just not interested as much, which is fair enough. Perfect age, addicted to WoW. He does play it from time to time, but he loves lots of different games. So no one game has a massive hold on him. But he does like WoW. He likes doing mount collecting. That's his thing. Yeah, I mean, I was much older when I got into WoW, but I wasn't around when I was the perfect teenage age. So how many of the 565 has he got so far? Oh, good morning, Carcosa. How are you? Thanks for stopping by the stream. He's nearly got, well, technically he's got 100, but that's counting both Horde and Alliance. So hasn't got the achievement yet for getting the 100. So still early days yet. I mean, I've got about 4 mounts, not including all my horses and griffins. That's about all I've collected. Iron Red Dwarf fan. Oh, absolutely, Sleepy. Yeah, I mean, I didn't catch it straight away, but when I went to university, I really got into it then. But yeah, Red Dwarf was great growing up. That was my kind of era. So looking at this one here, I got it quite dark this side, but it's a bit too light this side. So I'm going to just darken the whole thing down with some lines this way. Then the light comes through here, which is why you've got highlights there. So I'm going to tone down the bounce shadow more. Not bounce shadow, the bounce light. Because I don't want it too light. Like that. So this is deep, deep shadow. This has just got bounce light. This has got a bit of key light. And then the rest is going to be all thin, which is going to be long lines, really. The kind of texture I want in this is almost like frilly veil. So it's going to be lots of long lines, because then it can compress in on itself, which is why you get these shards here. But with these long lines I can start then putting in shadow or overlapping bits. Just follow the line down, do lots of lines. Where it's dark here, I can go harder and then come out this way. But each line goes pretty much the full length, except for the bottom bits, which is going to be a harder line. So we've got some light to dark from the base, like that. So now we're connecting up the 2 frill bits with sharp lines and stuff. Here's the plan. I think I'm going to do the rest of this area, because I can keep the page turned around this side and do it, and then we'll go that way, filling in the rest of the lines. Now that I've got a technique, for me curly bits. Which is like a bouncy, curvy line going round. And then I'll come back and do the light and shadow bits. That's going to be light, that's going to be light, and this lot shadow. That's definitely shadow. Down there. And we'll go down to the base, and then deepen that up with some harder lines. Quite like the bounce shadow I've got going there, so I'm going to keep that, and then do frilly connecting bits. Some darker, some lighter. Gives it more texture that way. But the base coming out from there, we definitely want darker. Because that's gives us a nice, what's it called, graduation of tone. Two fin bits. Right. So just thinking about tonality at the moment, whether to fill that in a bit more or leave it for now. It's quite bright, but then I haven't done any of the scaly areas here. Although this bit looks a bit scrappy, so I want to smooth that out. Just catch the highlight, do the low light, and then that darker. Same with that. Do that a bit darker. And there. They've got a bit more shape to it. Lauderan Fall. That's the next tune. I like this one. So another sideways one. Doing the last of his right cheek frill. I'm not sure what texture I'm going to do for these big tentacly things. They could be quite cool. As this one is not obscured by anything, it's going to have quite a bright bounce light, but it's also super tiny. So I want to get the impression of the texture that I'm drawing in here with the curvy lines, which are tiny, but then I don't want it to be too light, so I'm having to make sure I just start at one side and then go round the other side as dark. And then I can just very lightly shade that in so it's not too bright. And the key thing here again is to do those frill lines. Let's move this up a little bit. Do those round, and then I can do these ones, but then come back out the other direction with my darker lines, the graduation of tone. These have got a couple of slits in them, so I wonder if I make them a bit more accentuated by putting them darker. Then I'm really getting that fishy fin feel to it. That's all going to be dark there. All this deep dark shadow, but still have the texture of the lines, the long lines. Same down there, that's all dark, super dark. And then do a little bit more graduation. Right, okay, so we've got the main cheek fins on this side done. I've got to think about the texture of these tentacles and how I'm going to draw the texture of those in. I've got the start of his spine fin that comes over here. I haven't even sketched that out yet, so I've got no idea exactly how I'm going to map that out, because it needs to flow around the back of his back, because that's the key. That's going to frame his back quite nicely. I haven't thought about that yet. And then we've got a hand here at the back, his chest. So yeah, it's still quite a lot to do. My coffee's gone cold though, so I'm going to have to go and get another coffee soon. What I'll do, let's swap over to a blue pencil. So I use these blue pencils to do my underlying mapping out. I use blue because if I was to scan this in Photoshop, these coloured pencils, these ones can be erased. So if I was to then ink over this, I could rub it out. But you can also filter out the blue in Photoshop when you scan it in. You just use, say, like the red channel or the green channel rather than the RGB channel. So you can filter out your. It's really easy to filter it out when you've scanned something in if you're going to do some more work on this. So you've got a shoulder that's coming up here, but you've got a big spine coming off your shoulder here, which then comes out to about there. So it comes out, and there, and then you've got a second spine that comes out here, slightly more bendy, goes thin and then thick, like that, and then up the shoulder. This is all up the back. Now, because this is a polygon model, there's got big gaps in it, but I think it should look more like that, with another spine coming out. This is a big spine, so I'm going to do the root of your back here, and then you've got another two spines here. So I'm going to draw these as big ridges like this. Those are the bases, and this one is going to come massive spiky spine here, goes thin and then thick there. Where did I learn to draw? It's all down to practice, Sleepy. I mean, yeah, I went to, when I finished what we have here in the UK is A-levels, I went to art college and did a foundation where you just got to experiment with lots of different techniques and styles. That's where I really enjoyed doing oil painting. I did do a great deal though. And then my degree that I did was computer animation, where we did do a little bit of drawing, we did a bit of life drawing. But other than that, the rest of my drawing since then, I mean, since a child, I used to draw stuff. I used to draw animals all the time. As a little boy, sat in front of the TV watching David Attenborough. That's the main kind of inspiration for me, was drawing animals. And that's when my love of animals has always been there. So for me, it's always been about just kind of expressing yourself through drawing. I mean, I've gone through huge periods in my life where I've never drawn for years. And then you get back into it, like I am now with World of Warcraft stuff. So it's really nice to be able to put something of yourself back into creativity, really. There you go. For those, you can barely see them, but these are the main spines that I've done for the back now, which goes right. Let's see if you can see them there. So those are just done in blue pencil. So now I've got an outline of where I'm going to go with it. Because this is the head spine, but then behind it is this one that comes around here. So I've got to think that's coming round like that. And then this comes here, but these two are actually folded in on each other. I wonder if I could do a bit of a shape here where it's folded. You know how curtains ruffle up at the bottom? Do something like that. So I've got a little curvy shape there, which means this line here is the edge of the frill that's folded in on itself. Like that. Because those two are really close to each other. And then this one can come down. And let's put a nice big cut in this one. And then connect that up to this. Maybe this one's a bit ragged as well. And do that. And then this one comes down to there, and then this one actually goes down his back. So this is now shoulder, which is also looking quite stony. So that's going to go stick out, and then this is all shoulder, and then behind it's going to be your spine, which is going to go down. Oops. Let's pull the keyboard. There we go. That's going to go down there, I think. And this is shoulder that's coming out behind there. That's his chest. That's twisted. Chest shape is there, and then that comes around. That's his oblique. No, his obliques are down here, but this is his latimus dorsi muscle that's coming around there. They have a weird shape, and then the pec comes there, and then the bicep comes around here. But this is all scaly, so even though it's not muscle, it's going to give us a shape of muscle, an impression rather. And then that comes around to the tricep, which then comes down to the elbow. Would be the main thing I do there. Right, I'm going to go grab another coffee for a moment, so I'll leave you with that for now, and then we'll come back and do some more head details, I think. I'll be right back. Oh, where's my mouse pointer? There we are, we're back. Back with our armed with coffee. Keep me going for the next couple of hours at least. So, how do I take my coffee? I have it black with sugar. Nice and dark. And I have a giant, tall mug. It's super tall. That's got Industrial Light and Magic written on it. From one of my old uni friends who used to work there. He got me a couple of mugs, which is awesome of him. Very kind. So, onwards. Right. This is looking a bit white, this area. And in order to connect these fins up with the face, I've got to think about scales of some kind. Now, I'm thinking let's have a look at that marine iguana picture I had up earlier. I was trying to look what the back of its head would look like, mainly. Good morning, Gumdrops. How are you? Thanks for stopping by the stream. How's your morning shaping up after your late stream? How late did you go to last night with your stream? Was it a long one? I'm going to put in some scales that match up these scales, but interlink in between the scales, so it's like a mesh. But I want to do them bigger than this row of scales. I know you can't see the details so much here, but it's not too bad. I didn't realise I started so early. Yeah, it was. It's an early one for me. I try and get it in, because that way I can still get some weekend with my family in between doing a creative stream this morning and then doing my stream tonight. So I kind of want to segue the two in together, really. Just after 1 a.m. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good length then, isn't it? 4 hours on Friday. Yeah, it does. I have noticed that 1 o'clock is when it does tend to get pretty late for most people, except for Costa. She's up super late. For those that don't sleep, or those that are in America, obviously. That's the other side of it. Just trying to mix time zones is always the trick, really, with streams. Obviously, a lot of people, and this is mainly Europe, Australia, kind of time zone, doing it early in the morning. So what's on the agenda for the economy blog today, Gumdrops? The scrapper thing sounds really cool. I'm interested to see how that's going to pan out in Battle for Azeroth, because I was never there with Warders of Draenor, so I don't know how the garrisons being able to disenchant worked for people. But I could see how that would be useful. Excuse me, frog in my throat. I need more coffee. There we go. I hope they raise crafted gear eye level from how it is now. That would be really cool, Sleepy. It makes it more viable. I mean, I think the crafted gear in Legion was viable to start with, but then it dropped off as better gear dropped. And then the crafting profession itself didn't really follow suit. Oh, I know what I need to do is some lip scales. because we're just getting close to his lip area here, and these need scales to go all the way around to define the lip area. Leading with a scrapper and other alpha data mining. The low pop guide from Mocker Boys. Oh yeah, I read that one. That was really cool. That was video and discussion on what to do with recipes from Sharken. Awesome. Oh, the one on the group maker. Oh, thanks for including that one. Yeah, that was really, really cool, that one. I didn't realise you could do it. And then Ignis pointed it out to me on my stream and I went through it. It was really nice, that. And then video from tracks on stack size strategies. Oh, excellent. Sounds like a really good mix of stuff there. I look forward to that coming out. Wish we could craft gear that was equivalent of raid with huge requirements, quests, and need for raid only items. Provided it's limited by items that drop in raids. That could be balanced. That's a nice idea, Sleepy. I like that. I mean, I've got that with my tailoring thing, the Knight's Dichotomy. But as a casual player that doesn't really do mythics, I've never bothered with it because it's just too much hassle for me. It doesn't appeal to me as much. But yeah, I could see how it would appeal. At least keeps the profession current, which is the main thing. They don't want to have those kind of requirements, right? Yeah. So that echoes what I was thinking, doesn't it? In that, as the person who would be likely to be making those, that would be locked behind content that I'm unlikely to do. Filling this guy in with scales, but there's got no shading on it yet, so it just looks quite flat at the moment, and I haven't done any of the inside of the mouth, so you're not getting any of that negative space inside the mouth at the moment. Plus it's hard to see on the camera that I've got at the moment. On the alpha, the guy at level 116 was getting a high level 250 crest rewards, and the crafting recipes were 117 required, 118. Okay. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously it's in alpha, so I got no doubt that they're going to be tuning the hell out of it throughout all of beta. I mean, I'm at a kind of point where I'm not sure how much I want to do the alpha and the beta, because I want to keep all the new stuff fresh when it comes out. I want that voyage of discovery that I'll get. Yeah. Some nose scales. Do you reckon that those will be just the leveling recipes? Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what the other recipes are going to be. I mean, it's nice to have some stuff, because they're changing the whole leveling system, I think, which is really good. I like the what they're doing with it, separating all the different expansions out. I think that's going to work quite well, because then you can still, as a long time profession person, still be like that person that makes the old world content, and they can scale the new expansion content separately. It's doing kind of random scales around here now, kind of like longer ones to go around his lip, upper lip, like that. Could maybe do that, and do that. That almost makes him look like a zombie. But we're not a zombie. We're a marine Scaly creature. Yeah. Looks like rank 1, 2, 3s are staying. I mean, I guess that's not too bad of an idea. I mean, when I was doing my tailoring, and I was waiting for my rank 3 silkweed braces to drop, it was not drop, for the world quest to come up. I had to think of something to do otherwise, and so I was doing the shoulders, which I had at rank 3. So you do the best option you have available to you. But thankfully, it didn't take too long to drop the rank 3. Between that and Nomi, that was another fun thing. Ooh. Now the thing we don't have on Nagas is ears. Now I'm sure iguanas have like an ear plate that's something like that. So I'm going to put one in, because I think they could do with one. And then I'm going to ring it with some scales. And then this is going to do a big one around there. One around there. I'm just trying to follow the contours. I'm going to do a big scale here. Like that. So I'm just doing the outlines of scales at the moment, and then we can fill this in with more designed scales. Okay, so that's the scales around the face done. So it's kind of like real bit of detail, but then we need to go in and now put the shadow onto this side. I might do the opposite. I might do the top of his head as well first. Map out all the different bits, because we've got the bridge. His eye is lost here. There is another eye here. That needs. There's not a lot I can do about that in terms of. I can do the scales there, and then little scales here, because that's the other side here of the bridge of the nose coming together. There. Which camera are you using for the top-down view? I've just stolen my my son's webcam, which is another Logitech webcam. I haven't tried yet, but my daughter's got an SLR that I could maybe hook up with a live feed, but I don't know whether it works. But yeah, I mean, I know it's coming across quite fuzzy at the moment. I could really do with something like you were talking about, having something. I have no idea, actually. Both the same, I think. What's in my properties? If I have a look, other camera properties. A C170, they're both the same, I think. And what's the other one? Video capture device, properties. Where's that? Can't see the things. Yeah, they're both the same. C170s. Hey Dissonate, thanks for stopping by the stream. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a lovely start to your weekend. Just doing a Naga here, sketch, whilst also chatting with everyone about gold and what's coming up in Battle for Azeroth. So it's a combo stream, shall we say. You can use an SLR, but you need the capture card as well. Oh yeah, that's okay. That's sounding expensive. That's probably not within Samadan's budget. Kids and wife are happy. You're happy. There we go. That sounds like a way forward, Detonate. Alright, what should I do between these big scales, I wonder? So he's got big nodules on his head with these little scales coming underneath, which I'm just doing the detail on now. But I'm thinking, for contrast, I think this needs to be something not scaly. So I'm thinking just kind of keeping it smooth, but then we just need to make sure we follow the light and shadow patterns we've been setting down already, which means that's all going to be in shadow there. And this is where I risk losing my scale detail, but we want to connect the different things up. I'm just using a this is like a retractable pencil with a 0.5mm lead in it, which is, I think, softness B or HB. So it's not mega soft. So, but then I need that hardness to be able to get these fine lines. Because a lot of my work I do is detail work, and I build it up through that. The other pencils I've got is I use an HB. I've got a series of HBs here, which are okay, sort of like for fine lines and texture work. And then my blue ones don't actually have a softness rating on them. They're just Sanford Coal Erase Light Blue. They seem to work out alright. Now this areas, which I'm actually thinking of the pencils, I might use one of these pencils to do the shady area. I'm thinking I'm going to do this quite dark. I'm just going to fill it in lighter first. I'll do little round strokes, because then that gives the impression of texture, but not like a mottled texture, which I think would suit this kind of area. I might use this actually for his tentacles. A mottled texture would be quite nice for that. Lots of little round circular strokes, and then I just press harder for the shading areas. Such a contrast between your calm streams and Gumdrop's monster farm stream. Yeah, I like the farming streams with the song requests. You can get some nice tunes going, and everyone can join in. And then my streams are usually, I tend to keep them super chilled. Yeah, definitely. Monster Farms. Yeah, that was last night, Carcosa. Gumdrops' Friday farming stream. I didn't join in on the farming, but I did hang out in the background. I'm losing some detail here, so I've got to think nodules now on the top of his head, and then I need to go in darker and sharper, especially in the areas of shadow, so I don't lose. That's working better. Yeah, I'm going to go real noduley on the top of his head and keep the highlights and the rest all really dark. Like that. Oh, you fell asleep on the sofa. Oh no. Well, there's something to be said for falling asleep on the sofa. If you've got a really comfy sofa, you can get a really good power nap doing that. Usually with me, with a cat on top of me somewhere. Alright, this is super shadowed area, so I'm going to make sure this is all dark, because the key light's coming in from this direction and it's blocked by this. But then this line just at the top here is where the light's going to just hit the top of his head. So we want to make sure that stays light. Yeah, one cat at your feet and one on your belly. Yeah, that sounds about right. My cats aren't around at the moment. Oh no, one's under the chair in his safe place. That's Oreo. Is the background music volume alright for everyone? I've just got the mainly the zone music playing in the background. Right. Well, I'm happy with this noduling detail. I'm going to go in and do this area darker, I think. Actually, no, it needs to be lighter, thinking about it. Yeah, sounds fine. Okay, excellent. I didn't want it to drown out too much, but I want it to be audible. I did think about doing sort of like actual music for these creative streams, but then I also want to put them on YouTube. So I'm sticking with the World of Warcraft theme as it ties in, obviously. When I eventually can monetize my YouTube videos, then I'll be able to not have to worry about the copyright side of things. We're doing really dark here. I need to also do this really dark now, because that's in shadow. Oh yeah. Gives my pencil epic feel. Oh, thank you, Popkeep, for stopping by the stream. That's one of the things, actually, I do quite a lot whenever I'm doing something creative, whether I'm at work or doing something of my own like this. I really like listening to film soundtracks, because that epicness really sort of helps with the creative flow, because I find a lot of my regular music takes me out of that brain space. So if you're ever thinking about wanting to do drawing or something creative, film soundtrack music is really, really good. Right, I'm really thinking at the moment light and shadow, which is why I'm pressing so super hard to get this detail in, whilst also keeping the shape, because this is where it starts coming to life a bit more. You can't see too much. Just going to show it up a little bit. That's kind of like the detail I'm going for here now. But it's just, once you put something in, you have to make sure you commit to it. And that's in, and that's in. So that's all the dark side of that ridge inside his face. Always get caught up in the music otherwise. Yeah, that's exactly what happens to me, Carcosa. It's a balancing act, because music's great for creativity, but it can also pull you out of it. I want super duper deep nostrils. I'm going to switch back to my retractable pencil. minute once I've had some coffee. Alright, so the eye needs to definitely stay clear of anything, because I want to keep that whiteness that's in there. Now I want to shade in these scales, but I don't want to lose the definition of their edges, so I have to go back over them darker, otherwise you're going to lose all that definition I've just drawn in with the lines. So this is kind of intricate work, but we want to make these scales stand out, but it needs some depth with light and shadow. Good, bad and the ugly. Now, I love Sergio Leone's stuff. It's really nice. I'm not a Western fan, but I do love listening to those kind of soundtracks. And anything by... I've forgotten his name. Brain blank. Hans Zimmer. That's it. Anything Hans Zimmer is really good. Or John Barry. The old Dances with Wolves soundtrack is suitably epic. It's a bit French horn sounding, for some tastes. But it is quite nice to have in the background. I find John Williams a little bit too old-fashioned filmy, I think of it. And if you want something a bit more upbeat, the Tron Legacy soundtrack is awesome. I love listening to that. Bit of Daft Punk goes down a treat. So with this, I'm just going over each individual scale, redoing it, but then coming in and highlighting it up to give each scale a bit of depth. I'm not sure how much you can see that here. I wonder if I can raise up my thing to the camera. Hold on. Yeah, what I'm going to do is put this on a box to make it closer to the camera. So, and then I'll use the Warcraft 3 Collector's Edition box. Hey 94s, how are you? And if I put it on here, there we go. We can get a bit closer so you can see these details as I'm doing them. I'm kind of kneeling though, so I'm not sure how long I'll be able to do this one for. At least we can see some details. How's your day shaping up, 94s? Hope all is well with you. Bit of a weird angle for me because I'm quite shallow now on it, so I'll see what I can get done with this, just to get some details in really, so it can still be visible on the camera. this one comes around like that, and then that eye. Getting really, these are tiny. These. I'm using an A3 paper. This is actually getting super tiny now. And this big scale, because I've got big scales here that gets smaller and smaller towards the eye, which gives, you know, if you're doing a dragon or something like that, you'd want to do the same. If you did all the scales the same size, it just wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't have any depth to it. It wouldn't draw your eye in. There you go. So far your day's been good. Excellent. Good to hear. All good this end, thank you, 94s. Got plenty of coffee to start my day, which is always nice. And then we're just having some chill chats whilst sketching. So we're talking about film soundtracks and what's coming up in the WoW economy from Gumdrops, and Battle for Azeroth, what's coming up gold making wise for that. So yeah, all in all, a pretty nice start to the weekend, I'd say. This, I want to do an echo of those lines. Got light coming from this side, light coming from that side, but an overall scaly shape. And do the same here. This is all really in shadow, so the only light you're going to have is the bounce light. I did think about changing my light direction to be from the bottom rather than the top. I mean, this is all in shadow anyway, because this is right at the back of his cheek. So I'm not going to want too much there. Out of coffee, but have some errands to run shortly. Okay, might pick up some breakfast whilst I'm out and about. Sounds like a plan, Gumdrops, definitely. What are you going to go? Are you going to go full English? Or are you going to go for something a bit lighter? Could murder some poached eggs on toast right now. Well, not murder. But yes, actually probably murder. Well, thanks ever so much for stopping by the stream anyway, Gumdrops. And I look forward to seeing your write-up later today. I'm here till 12, so I've got another just under a couple of hours to go on this stream. See you later, Gumdrops. Thanks again for stopping by. Do that. This is actually going to catch some light from both, so I'm going to keep that shape. I quite like that shape. I'm going to make sure that stays dark on that side. There we go. And then this one we can do nice and dark. So I'm not too concerned about light direction at the moment. I just want to make sure each scale stays defined, but also has some shape to it. That's the main thing. So you're getting the right kind of shapes is the main thing. And then I might leave those scales that are around the eye, because I don't think I've got a small enough pencil to be able to go in. Obviously if I was doing that digitally, I'd zoom right in Photoshop and do those, but I'm going to have to just give the lightest of impressions of depth with those. Otherwise I'll lose the detail in a mush of grey, because I'm doing pencil rather than colour. You're just working the tone. I'm just thinking depth with these scales. The light's coming, it's kind of bouncing around a little bit, so make sure. Yeah, if I do underlines, this line here, almost like a mascara effect, which helps draw your eye into that eye. If I keep these dark, with a bit of textural detail on the scale, then that should really help say, this is an eye, come look in this direction and focus on that. Because you're always, as a human, you're always drawn to eyes. As one of those things, you look for faces in things. Yeah, so that deep shadow I've just done there is the ring around the eyes. That gives you a lot more. It's kind of like say, okay, look here. This is the part of the drawing I want you to focus on. That's why I always start my drawings with eyes, because it's the whole piece. It's the eyes. Do that one darker. I'm going to do light texture strokes over the top, and then reinforce the ring around the scales detail, and then think depth and shading. Go around, do that. Do that. Oh, thank you, Madis49, for the follow. That's very kind of you. Welcome to the stream. We're currently drawing ourselves a happy little Naga from World of Warcraft. Well, I think there might be some debate of how happy he is, given he's looking a little bit menacing. Let's go over the top. Sorry if my face cam's going to disappear for this. I'm just catching the light a little bit, so I need to look down on it a bit more than I normally do. There we are. We're doing really fine details. That's why I've raised my bit of paper up onto a block, just to try and capture these details as I'm drawing them. I know it's tricky to see on camera, but what I'll do is when I've finished it, I'll scan it in and stick it on Twitter and my Discord, so you can see the details more clearly. Because the video camera doesn't, even though my I've got light everywhere, got 3 desk lights all pointing down on here, it's not quite detailed enough to pick up these tiny pencil details I'm doing. Hand's getting quite warm now actually, so I'm got to think about the paper underneath, because I've been working on this one area quite a bit. I mean, I'm using quite thick watercolour paper, so it's quite forgiving in terms of smudgy things. Right. Getting a bit closer to where I wanted to with shadows and highlights on this side, but we need to also think about the rest of him, because we've concentrated a lot on the face, but we've still got the whole body to do. Yeah, do these little, these are tiny, these scales. But you want these tiny ones. To give you the sense of like, okay, this is detailed here, and then this is less detailed, but then this draws you into the eye, because this is his cheek area. And probably want to do longer lines here, because this is the lip definition. I don't want to lose that whilst I'm doing this. Hey Skitsio TV, how are you? Thanks ever so much for stopping by the stream. After normal streaming golf farming all week, that's so soothing. Yeah, it's a real zen kind of change of pace. I mean, I try to keep my streams fairly chilled anyway. I'm not one for getting energetic, obviously, but yeah, it's nice. The thing I like about this is doing something creative. It really helps rebalance things out, because obviously, you know, with you're playing computer games and it's quite consumey, like anything you do that's consuming, like watching films, or I mean, that's why I like streaming my playing of games, because it's not as consumey, it's more connectively. Is that a word? It's more about connecting with people, which makes it more than just consuming. And that adds to kind of what you're putting out in the world versus what you're taking from the world. So being able to connect with people while streaming is one of those really nice goals for me, of being able to connect with other people, and then being able to create on top of that. I think for me it adds a lot of value to my life, shall we say, and fill that the rest of the time with my family, and that leads to one very happy existence. Right, more details, and even more details. You can't really see them with the camera, unfortunately, but this is all tiny scales that I've drawn in. Thank you very much. So how's your weekend shaping up, Skitsio? Is it all? What's in plan for your Saturday and Sunday? Shadow, we need shadow here. Otherwise, it's all going to look too flat. And this is behind the nostril, so that needs to be darker. Now I'm going to lose some detail, obviously, by doing it darker, because it's all in shadow. So if I just press a little bit harder, I can try and retain some of that detail, whilst also making that area dark so that the nostril catches the light. You can somewhat see the shades of the different scales. Yeah, I know it goes very fuzzy, and if I bring that as close as I can, you can kind of see it. Oops, there we go. But it gets mushed up a little bit, unfortunately. And I'll do a scan of this. I mean, you're getting the overall shape. That's the key thing, is you're seeing the shadow under the eye is this main thing, and then the highlight of the brow. So those two key things are saying this is the eye. Look at this. Oh, that's a great combo, Sleepy. Fishing and listening to the stream. Now, I hear it's not as relaxing as real life fishing, but nonetheless, I'd like to give it a go in World of Warcraft. Just from a sense of completeness. I mean, I've obviously got other professions I'd rather do first. But once I've done those, then I'm going to move on to the other things that I never got around to, like fishing and archaeology. Details there, dark details there. That's your eye, so I need to just accentuate that line underneath to say, here's an eye, look at this. I am trying to become a mount collector. You need a fishing mount on the case. Yeah, I guess buying it's a thing, but sometimes you got that sense of accomplishment if you go out and get it yourself. I can understand the mentality of that. There's a Margos one. I haven't heard of the Margos one. What's that do? It's going to be... Let's get this darker. Otherwise his nose is just going to be super bright. Okay. Yeah, it does look really bright. Okay, let's get that darker. Don't really need that. That needs to blend in way more. And that one does too. There you go. The little guy in Dalaran you need to fish to get rep with. Ah, okay. You have the rep sorted. You're 22 mana items from having them out. Ah, okay. Another rep thing. I do have to take those in chunks. If I do too many of them, I'll go crazy. Let's look down on this one. No, you're just getting beard cam on the top right. Apologies for that. Just have to change position slightly to make sure I've got these details in. Yeah. Right. Beard cam. There we go. Right. Just going to take a quick bio break, and I shall be back, and we'll do some more inside mouth and some tentacly textures. Right, so we're back. Oh, let's sit down for this bit. I might move this slightly further out so I get a better angle. Oops. Yeah. Actually, looking at that, I wonder if I've got any good Naga sketches in my. I've got the Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos collector's edition, and with the Frozen Throne, there was some really nice stuff, really nice artwork in there. Let's have a look. Concept art, humans, and this is going back some. Horde, concept art for the Horde. Oops, what was that? Let's have a look. Then we go Night Elves. It's got Illidan in here. Yeah, I've got no idea what it's worth now. It's really nice. It's got the really early concept art. Necromancers. Got, what I really like about this book is the concept art. What I'm looking for. There we go. Demons. Have we got any Naga in here? Manaroth. I mean, this is a good, what, 14, 15 years old? Creatures. Might not have Naga in here. Places. Tauren. And then cinematic stuff. Yeah, I don't think. Well, there's a Naga Myrmidon here. There's an early sketch of one. By Chris Metzen, that one was. He signed that one. Yeah, there's not a lot else. Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos. Yeah, no Naga in there. Oh well. It'd be interesting to see if there was, but no. I guess it was before the Frozen Throne came out. Which is when they introduced the Naga with Illidan. So I'm going to do more textured lines here, because this is the membrane at the corner of the mouth. So I'm going to do very fine lines, which unfortunately you can't see on the camera. And then inside the mouth is going to be super dark. So we've got contrast. Now I'm going to use this same pencil for it because you need those sharp lines to define the teeth. If I don't have those, then you're not going to see anything. So you want white and black, like as dark as I can get it. This bit not so much, because that bit that's going to get some light. Inside is definitely dark, and then that will give you the contrast for the mouth, which gives it a lot more depth. and then helps the teeth really pop. Whether I do some shading on the teeth as well is another matter. Probably not, because that helps make them look super bright. I do want to make that dark though. As dark as my pencil will do. Doesn't matter too much texturally with this, so long as we've got it covered. And then we can do the jaw line. Dark, but not as dark. Yeah. So you're starting to see more contrast. Through all this. Of course, got the tongue coming up as well, which we want also to be visible amongst this darkness. So I'm going to press down. Keep it as sharp as I can. Follow the line of the teeth. Coming up to the tongue now. Yeah, so you're seeing more teeth. Yeah, more teeth. And then the tongue we can do. That side. This is starting to get light though, so I need to think carefully about where I'm doing the deepest dark bits. There. And under the tongue. There. And then I'm going to do the mouth, which is also going to be dark, but not as dark. Can't really see the tongue detail there. I've left a tiny little bit of white highlight on it. And then I can do the same with the gum area that's come out. As long as I do around the darker areas. Give it some depth, and the rest can be just shaded in, and leaving the teeth nice and white. Yeah, do that. Going around all the teeth. If I can do it a bit darker around the base of the teeth, then that would sit them in it a bit more. And I can think about whether I'm going to actually do some shading to the teeth as well. If I do, I'll lose some of the definition. So if I do any, it's going to have to be subtle. Yeah. Let's move this round. So do that. Cover that in. That, and then that needs to be dark. I lost that bit. So let's move that up a little bit. So the teeth aren't coloured in at all. They're just white, but I think they give you some really good bits of detail to focus on, because Nagas are, by their very nature, toothy. And then the lip, we're going to use the same technique I did with the fronds, and just use curved lines to do texture, whilst also trying to capture some highlights and shadow to make it look more three-dimensional. I need to change direction now, because that is more straight onto camera, and then this is more the other side of camera. So perspective wise, you go from curves round this way to curves round that way, and then in between the two you want to just draw those in. I want to make this look quite shiny because it's the lip area, so he's going to have saliva and moisture around here. So I'm trying to keep, it's very, very tiny details. I'm trying to keep the white, purest of white, so I'm avoiding those areas. That I could probably do darker though, because that's higher up, and that's inside his mouth. And a bit of light. There we go. Okay. I know a lot of this detail isn't coming through on the camera, so I'm going to move on to some broader details in his tentacles, which are easier to pick up. Once I've maybe done the jaw. Actually, no. Let's swap over to one of these. So I'm thinking with these, it's a bit like an octopus with the mottled round rings, but I'm not going to do like actual rings, but I am going to do things like that. You love the music. This is, it says General Walk Day 7. I wonder where General Walk is. I think it could be Northrend Carcosa. Hey Nerexius, how are you? Thanks ever so much for stopping by the stream. How are you doing today? How's your weekend looking? So even though we're doing these big circles, I'm going to then fill them in so we've got texture. I want to keep those circles in mind to make it look like, okay, this is a hint of roundy, scaly, octopusy texture. That's catching some light, so I'll keep that. And this side, still in shadow, so let's keep that in shadow. Keep that in shadow. And we'll do, that's the other one, so we need to keep a hard line there. You can at least see these details a bit more on the camera. I see this is saying, so Ice Crown. I think this is Ice Crown now. Which I think fits quite nicely with the Naga theme. More detail coming in through this. And it's obviously in shadow some of the part. And then I've got to think about the shape of this. Towards the end, I'm thinking it's going to have some of that roundness to it that we've got going on. Maybe this bottom end we can do darker, although it's got to catch some light. Hey Sharkin, how are you? Thanks for stopping by the stream. How's things going with you? Ah, thank you for the host. It was very kind of you. Thank you everyone who's stopping by from Sharkin. We're doing something a little bit different to my usual gold making. We're doing some creative, relaxed drawing with a Naga from World of Warcraft, whilst listening to the zone music from Frozen Throne, I believe we're at now. They're all AFK. No worries. Well, thank you all the AFK people from Shark and Stream that's come through. You never know, they might turn their computers back and go, oh, what's this? So we need some depth in this, because it's being the light's coming in here, so we're catching light at the top. This is going to be light, no shadow, and definitely in there is going to be shadow. There you go. Oh, thank you, Popgeek and Sharkin. That's very kind of you both. Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you. Let's pop some, hold on, there we go. A couple of chef's hats. There we are. Have I got any of my other work nearby? You can take a quick sneak peek. I haven't got... I've got my Greymane somewhere. That's, the only other thing I've got is my animal drawings. Hold on. He's your picture of a stick man. Hold on, let's move this out of the way. This is one I did digitally. I can't quite see it, it's too far away. Of a cheetah. I've printed this onto canvas and then oil painted it and then mounted it onto a wood frame. I show it on the other, where's the other camera? That's the whole picture. So that's kind of like a cheetah I did. And then I also did, not sure if I got this one, probably not going to be able to see this one, this is already on canvas. Yeah, that's a elephant drawing I did. Digitally I did this one. I've got it printed onto canvas. Can't quite see everything there, it goes down the bottom. And then I did a leopard as well. This is all based off photo reference, and that was back when I had a Wacom Cintiq, and I drew it digitally whilst commuting to work. So it's always good fun. Although I haven't got the Cintiq anymore, so I'm doing things the good old-fashioned way, traditionally with pencil and paper. Which I think is quite nice because then you've got something, you know, original piece of artwork, which is quite nice. But I'm liking doing World of Warcraft stuff now. That kind of moves on from my animal drawings and gives me something to think, okay, well, let's tie this in with World of Warcraft. Not so much classes. I mean, I was saying earlier on the stream that I did do art as part of my school courses and things, but anyone can draw with practice. It's all about practice. The more you practice and observe, the better you get. Techniques and stuff, there's not a lot to it really. It's a mental state more than anything else. You just have to do it a lot. I mean a lot. Lots of hours. Anyone can draw. That sounds like Gustav from Ratatouille, who says anyone can cook. Not you, Mr. Honkit. Well, you never know. I mean, I know some people are very quick to put themselves down, and yes, it does. I'm not gonna trivialise it in the sense that yes, you do need to put in a lot of practice, a lot of patience, a lot of observation, and then there are some fundamentals to understand, such as perspective and what have you. Just going to draw some curvy lines in here so I know that we're drawing something cylindrical. There we go. And then you'd rather spend your time baking, cooking or building Lego though. Yeah. Now those all sound like fun pastimes, Mr. Honkit. I would also enjoy that and throw in World of Warcraft and winner, chicken dinner. I decided to go with... He tried cooking but gave up. Pretty sure that meatloaf is not supposed to glow in the dark. That's brilliant, Pop Geek. I do a little bit of cooking, but my wife and daughter both have a natural love of it and want to put together, really nice tasting stuff, whereas I'm more of a bung in the oven kind of person. Well, yeah. How's your Millennium Falcon going? Almost done. Excellent. Yeah, I'm very jealous of that one, Mr. Honkit. That does sound a lot of fun. That's the sort of project I'd definitely enjoy. Hopefully these scales are coming through on the camera. I'm just doing big circles, then I'll come back over it and do sort of some shady detail. Good morning, Sunny D. How are you? Thanks ever so much for stopping by the stream. How's your Saturday looking up? Got anything exciting planned today? Do a big one there, do one here. And these almost look like scales, but I'm going to throw in the more kind of like rounder shading on it. Doing well, excellent. Good to hear. We're just chilling here, drawing a Naga, and chatting about all sorts really. This is kind of what makes it a bit different to the regular gold stream, is the topics tend to open up to anything whilst drawing. I'm losing my curvy details here, so I'm going to draw some more lines to remind me. There we are. Well, let's have a look. Slowly getting there. Oh yeah, that's looking brilliant. Yeah, that's really come on. Loving that, Mr. Honkit. Now that you've got the base shape and everything. That's super fun, I bet. Awesome. I like it. Right. So, let's carry on with these bits. It's huge. Look at the size of that thing. Yeah, it's definitely a big project, that Millennium Falcon. Am I mostly black and grey, or do I use colour pencils too? I don't tend to use colour pencils, Popgeek, but I wouldn't be adverse to doing some colour, although I do like to do my colour digitally in Photoshop. so I'm probably more likely to scan it in and then colour it in Photoshop. If I was to do something colour, then I'd probably do something in oils, but that would be like, for something to get this kind of detail across, I'd have to have a massive canvas, because I couldn't get the brush strokes small enough for that, but that would be fun. Watching on the big screen, Cossack. Oh, excellent. I hope the camera's got at least some details for you. Can I link again? Is that Mr. Honket's Lego you were talking about linking? So I do this as a hobby, yes, pretty much, Shark, and it's... I mean, even though I'm creative for my work as a 3D artist, this isn't the kind of work I do day to day. Yeah, I think it was further up, wasn't it, Mr. Honket? Oh, the chat closed on you. Let me see if I can copy paste it. Hold on. Oh, there you go. Mr. Honket's got you sorted. There we go. Yeah, it's looking really nice. That falcon. Right, where's the light coming from here? So the light's coming from here. So this side needs to be light. So this side, but also I'm getting bounce light coming from this side. So let's think about the dark areas first, which is going to be here mainly, and then we'll work our way down. Going to keep that light because that helps separate these two out. Weighs around 7 kilos. Whoa. 80 centimeters long, 60 wide, 20 high. That is brilliant. Have you thought about where you're going to display it once it's done, Mr. Honket? Have you got either a cabinet, or you could hang it, I guess, if you got strong enough hooks. No way you could have the patience to do this. You just want to get a crayon and colour the whisker in. Yeah, it is tempting, Sharkham, but I think this is what I like about this kind of drawing, is I do just noodle the details, so you don't have to worry too much. You can just kind of like chill out and let the details come out whilst you're sort of like chatting away and things like that. You had a place of mine, it's not big enough though. I might have to move some walls around perhaps, Mr. Honket, or some furniture. Yeah, so that, where's the light hitting now? That light's there. I want dark, I want this bit dark. There, like that. And then I want a bit of light on the underside here. Why yours is 160p more, I know, 4K. Yeah, something like that, Sharkin. It's yeah, I do enjoy the details. I can get lost in the details. They're my zen moments. And I'm swapping over the light now to go from, this light's going to grow and this is going to start getting darker, is the theory here. Not really suited for hanging up, lots of parts made so you can see the inside of it. Yeah, maybe it's a good coffee table item. You know, just stick it right in the centre of your living room. Say, look, here it is. It's on the coffee table. And maybe you could hide remote controls in it or something. 7,500 bricks. Wow, that's just awesome. Just those numbers. Thinking about it. It's when people talk to me about their gold, and they've got like millions and millions of gold. Okay, no worries, Shark, and thanks ever so much for stopping by the stream. I hope you have a good rest, and see you again very soon, hopefully. Yeah, I'll tweet it up when it's done. Well, I don't think I'm going to get this done. Oh, let's skip this track. Otherwise I'm going to think I'm in... I've logged into the game. There we go. Good night, and sleep well. Yeah, I'll tweet it up once it's done. But I think I'm going to have to do this one in 2 sessions. Yeah, the problem with hanging it, I guess, is if it's in lots of pieces, it's not gonna... You're gonna have to reinforce it somehow. Which may take away from the actual aesthetic a little. Alright, so we've got the light coming here, the light bouncing here, so the light's moving around this as it dangles down. The less it covers on a female, the more it's worth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 94. So there's a definite market for that kind of transmog. Crazy glue. Ooh, can you imagine? Yeah, hanging. I can imagine that would be. You'd really have to trust in your engineering and DIY capabilities to be able to have that up. Alright, let's just make that a little bit darker down this line. Just want to get texture and contrast in. So I'm going to roll over the highlights in the shadows, moving as I draw it in. It's important to turn your pencil as you're doing stuff like this, so you can always get a bit of sharp edge when you need it. Otherwise it goes all mushy and you lose your detail. Alright, actually look at the camera there. Can't see the detail of the line so well in the drawing. It does look like it hasn't got any shape to it. So I wonder if I just pull this in a little bit, just to give that a bit more definition. There we are. Also need to know what you're going to do with the box. Don't want to throw it out. Yeah, the box, that box is awesome. You need some nice bit of storage for that. Looks really cool. Definitely. Oh, my coffee's gone cold. Right. So looking at this, Oh yeah, you could use it like that, but then I'd worry about it. The box would start getting battered or destroyed in the process. So I'm going to make this darker here. So I think that's going to give me more highlights there, like that. So I want this dark anyway, so that way I think that's going to give it more 3D-ness. Yeah, definitely. Just work that in details-wise. There we go. So space is tight, yeah. I think it's going to be a difficult one. Leveling on 61 at the moment, being a tank, and having 40 minutes average on queue. That is long. I thought tanks did all right on the queue times 94s. That surprises me. I know as a healer, I do quite well. So I'm not looking forward to leveling up my DPS characters for that reason. Really ought to switch over to my thin pencil, but I'm enjoying the softness of this one. So I'm going to keep with it for now. Yeah. There's some levels where there's too many tanks and 0 healers and DPS. Oh, interesting. DDs must be have fun. Yeah. What's DD? Do you mean like DPS? What shape am I going to do for this jaw, actually, thinking about it? I haven't thought about the texture for the jaw. I mean, we could go more scales again. Oh, damage dealers, right, I'm with you now. Yes. Oops, just dropped another pencil. Yeah, I can imagine they do. I'm going to go with a little S shape here. Curvy and then curved back. I think that's going to really accentuate out the chin shape. And then that, and then that's going to be a diamond shape. Just making it up a little bit here. Yeah, and then we can start colouring in this chin. Not by the hairs, and the chinny chin. Again, subtle details, probably not being picked up on the camera, but we want to do all these bits. I remember when I was leveling Samadan as a shadow priest, and the dungeon queue times were just, yeah, they were terrible as a DPS. So as soon as I switched over to Holy, it was like, wow, I can actually queue up for these things. Because I never really had that long to play. So it was nice to be able to jump in. If you wanted to do a dungeon, you could. Whereas I can imagine spending my time hanging around, if that's all I wanted to do was dungeons, having to wait would be really, really tough. I guess that's when you have to do the random dungeons, so you at least get into something. Just doing soft lines here because I want to follow the contours. It's like curvy this direction, which is dark shadow under the lip, and then curvy the other direction, which is the chin jawline going round underneath. And then I need to make sure that I go round so it beds in nicely. Something like that. Teldrassil. Always a nice zone. And then round this way. Round that way. Start to see a bit more detail coming through that one. I'm going to keep that highlight there because that looks quite nice. And then this is this one. So we want rounded, but we also just want a shadow of one here. Because it is in shadow. And that leaves us with, we've still got loads to do, so this is definitely going to be a multi-stage project, I think. I'm thinking of this area, which gets light coming from here. Now this definitely has a lot of light on it. So I want to do this dark, and then right in this corner is super dark, but we're going to keep with those round textures we had to make it octopus-like, and then a hint of them because that's really catching the light there, and then deep down dark under there. So that it looks more 3D like. So that's catching this light is definitely going to be hitting that area because there's nothing blocking that. That's all dark. Yeah, that's all dark. That's all dark. Oh yeah. So I'm going to keep that light area there. Let's go really dark in there and in there. So I can think about this one now, which is also going to be, I'll make use of that line because that looks quite nice. This is a bigger, fatter one, so I want to make those lines. Just really use my other pencil for this actually. Let's swap over. Not that one. What's got a good sharp point? That one's got a good sharp point on it. So again we're going to go dark down there. That's got to be super dark. There. And then we can go I think if I can get it sharp enough, keep all of that as dark as it will go. Keep the roundness going though. Don't forget this is curvy, so you've got lines. I'm just drawing these in to remind me this is a cylindrical shape, so when I do my circles they can follow that line, and then when I darken them down we're going to at least be deep in that shadow, which then allows this lip to stick out a bit more. Like that. It doesn't matter if these get lost in the end, because the light's coming in from this side, and this is probably going to be in shadow quite a lot. Work our way back up that way. Yeah, I'll keep that light there. So it's at this point when you're doing these textures, it's about the texture, but it's mainly about the form of light and shadow, so that it looks more 3D like. There we go. Do that one in there. And then I want to colour in, well, shade in rather, this. I think I'm going to have to go to the small pencil for this bit, because it's so tiny, this area. I don't want to lose the definition of these bits. The same as that one. Don't mind doing it a little bit lighter, so I can at least get these in and start doing those circles again. There you go. And then we'll do that deeper down here. And darker this side. So now we've got light just touching this top edge. I think that will make it look more three-dimensional if I keep this bottom end. And then maybe just do a few odd circles here, and the rest I'll just go in with some detail underneath to make that stand out. And then we're left with this one, which we're going to do, again, catching the light there, give it some texture, and work down using those curvy lines. And then, not sure about this side. Just going to do a little, keep it on that side I think. Yeah, they've just got a bright highlight on that. Right, that's the main face done. You can't see the details, but I hold it up, you can see a bit more. Yeah, a bit more detail. Oops, wrong way. There we go. But then we've got to think body now. The body's still got to come round. So I've got to think, okay, just change position. I want to think about the lines that I've drawn in blue so I can get the overall shape a bit more detailed. Last of my cold coffee. Right, what have we got next? Yeah, I think we won't use the blue one. Let's use our sharp pencil again. Now, I wonder if I can change my camera contrast actually. It might help with showing this off a little bit. Hold on. Let's just change this over, not that one. That one. Let's move this over. Configure video. I wonder if I can actually boost this up a little bit. And turn off that. It's probably too bright. Let's go it down a notch. There we go. That's a bit brighter. There we go. I think you can see the details a little bit better. At least it's whiter now, which is white paper. Let's go with that. So, detail-wise, we've got the rest of his shoulder spine, which is going to come out here, and then that comes. Actually, that comes up there, and then we're going to do another lump there, so that we actually look like a proper embedded in spine. Otherwise, it looks a little bit odd. The same with that one. So that's the back that's coming back round here. So if you think of the snake bending round, there's probably going to be some sort of lines this way round, because it's compressing round. So we're going to have. I'm doing this kind of rough because his back is quite roughly designed, and then that one is going to come off there. So I'm trying to change the quality of my line so it's not just one solid line, but it's got some light and some dark bits in it, and different thicknesses, because then that accentuates shadow lines and things. I think it's probably a bit too bright. Let's see if I can turn this back down a notch. I think I'm washing out some of the details. Configure video. Let's just go down one exposure notch. There we go. I think that's better. Don't want to overexpose it. Then you can see these lighter lines. But then these lines, I want to be nice, bold. Long lines. Because these are the spines. So see, that's too feathery. Be quite careful with these. And then faster you draw, the smoother the line, but you really have to commit to the stroke and use your hand more rather than slowly feathering it in. But you can join back up like that. Can correct it a little bit. Oh, do you want to go out? Oh, thank you. So this spine is going to come up here, and then behind here. So it's going to come up behind this one. This is fin. So it's coming up behind there, and then joining that one. And that's joining, that one goes thin, and then out, and then sharp. So that's the spine, spiny spine stuff. Now this came underneath, didn't it? So we're going to do it a little bit raggedy, maybe even a nice little spine there. And then this one, let's do another cut. That's a nice big one. I think those cuts really help sell the raggedness of his sail fin. Now this one's the tricky one because I've got a curtain here. I'm going to do the joining line that comes up here to the curtain area, and then this comes out, and then this comes back on itself, and then back up there. So that's going to go down as well. So that just adds a little bit more depth to that shape, because of that leaning backwards. And then the rest of your spine is coming out along this line. It's a bit curvy, this one, so I'm going to bend it down and then keep the other line sharp and then sharp. And next one, let's make this longer. So I'm going to go along, up, then bend back, and out, in. The second one comes out pretty much straight away. Then this comes round. I'm not sure about the shape of this shoulder. This shoulder would really, if you've got muscles, you've got your, let's do this with blue pencil so I can just work out where I'm at. So you've got the centre line of your pecs here, and then your collarbone would be here and here. So thinking anchor points, so your collarbone connects there and there. So then all of this top shoulder is your trapezius muscle. Now obviously this is going to be super defined with a hunched back snake mode because his neck's going way further back. The neck's kind of compressed around there. So this is probably got a few ridges. Maybe one there. So I just want to, the trapezius muscle would be a shape like that. So I want to keep that line to define the shape, but also, and then follow the line down. So I'd probably do a little bit of an indentation there. which leads to this peak, would be the sort of shape I'd go for. So there's like a flat but also shape there. And then we want to do the peck, which comes around here and up. I'm going to cut that in. Now this hand that's sticking out here is actually far away in the distance, which is why that's so much smaller than that one. I've changed it a little bit from my reference picture to further accentuate it. So I've got a thumb here, which I think I'm going to stick with the shape I've got there, up like that and there, and then that's going to be the hand going back there. So pencil wise, we want a shape like that, and this is way off in the distance. Well, the Naga hands are quite rough looking, but the claws not so rough. So I want to just draw these in. And hook the claw. And then the knuckle, and then back of the hand, top of the hand, and then off up the arm, which you don't see. And that ends round. So that's just kind of in the distance. And this is going to define the shape. I'm going to do a split here. Because it's kind of like chest armor. So I'm going to do both shapes like that, and then do some little hints of shapes here, like that. Again, thinking now quality of line to do the outline, as if I was penning and inking this in, that I'm going to do almost like a thicker comic book line to represent shadow there. And then this is the nook in between, under the arm, and then it goes over to the bicep. So we'll do that round there, and then maybe come across with some extra sort of like finer lines joining that one up. I quite like this shape I had here, so I'm going to follow that up and up and over. This is almost really rough, big scale-y things. So I'm going to do that up that way and then back. And then join that back up. And then because this is a outline, do that thicker and darker. And then break that line up and then come down and then do the underside, which is there. And then that collarbone shape is there. Oops, I just smudged that a little bit, so I need to get rid of that. Extra little textural lines will help with that. And let's just do a bit more, work out where that's going to go. think I'm going to stick that out a bit more rib, because you're twisting here and your hip's coming out here, and then this is coming out there, and that's looking like your obliques, so that's going to come like that. Your body's twisted, so your central stomach line is coming from there around there, and then the skirt, for want of a better word, comes up and over like that, because that's the shape. Can't really see this. I'm drawing really faintly here because I want to get the shape mapped down first, if I need to, like that. And then you can pull this in underneath and across there, and then that comes in this way and across here. Now I've got a bit more confident with the shapes of everything. We can do some lines to define ribs, muscles. Even though it's not muscles, he's scaly. You've got the kind of shape of everything, really. And then that one's down. That connects that up. Connects that up. So we're getting a bit more of a shape. A bit more of the whole of his body coming through. Now that is around there. Lines now. We need more of his fin. So there's his shoulder back area. Connect this up. And then think, oh right, okay, spine, you're coming back here. So I'm going to draw that up there. Do I want to do some raggedy bits? Yeah, probably. Let's do a line there. And a line there. And then this line. And then that line. And then we can do the raggedy lines. And that's coming behind that one. And this one's coming up to meet that. So we've now got the whole fin there. This ear fin, this is the opposite of this one that's hidden behind here. I haven't done that detail yet, so it's kind of lost. As we've done the whole of the face as it is anyway, you might as well come in and do those as well. So thinking of the lines, what have we got here? We've got, that's kind of lost, isn't it? So I need that to somehow come above there, because that line was getting lost in this line. So if I draw that up higher and then shade that in, then we're getting at least, this is definitely going to be dark, that line, and then we could do the finny fan things there. like that. And that. And that one. I want that to be hidden behind this, so I'm going to do this quite dark. I'll start. Just a bit of texture. I'll come back in with some cross hatching, which makes that, it just fills it in a little bit. And then connecting those two up is the same strokey fin bits. And then we got 1 and 2 ear fins done. Maybe just change that a bit darker. Like that. Right. What else? What should we do for the last bit? I wonder. I think probably do this. Let's turn him round. Do him upside down. Now we want the same round, round, curvy lines technique we did before to define this spike. And then I'll decide where the light's going to hit it, which side, and then go back along its length. Like that. Right, all the way up to the tip where it gets tiny. And tinier. And up the top. If I turn that back round, we need to think about, okay, the light's going to come from this direction, so that means that this side is the darker side. So I'll do that dark. Try not to rest my hand on that bit actually. Let's put the paper over the top. Just to see. If that's going to be dark. But I still want to keep the texture, so I'm doing those lines horizontally rather than just drawing all the way up. I'm actually noodling it in really carefully so that I can keep that texture going all the way up to the top. Which then leaves this one, that's the lines, that one, and that's lines. So this one here is going to be the same. Curl it round. So judging by the pace at which I'm going on this one, this is definitely going to be a 2 or even 3 stage drawing, because I'm nearly 4 hours in on this one, and I've only really done, okay, I've got the main outline, the main body outline done, but I'm only really complete on the head. So if I were to finish this completely, which I intend to do, I've got at least another 4 hours worth of texture detail to put in at the same rate, I would say. That's the texture side. So let's put that figure back over this side. So again, shadow. Shadow's going to be down here. Now this is behind this one, so the whole thing should really be in shadow. But I want to do it dark enough so that it's separate from this one, but still keep that textural detail that I've got going on. Go around this side, I'll stay on this side because the light's definitely catching this on that side. There you go. A little bit more. Do that. Oh, I like this track. Which was this one? Stratholme. Past Indoors. It reminds me a little bit of the new Battle for Azeroth stuff. A bit kind of like jaunty, piratey. Fill in that detail. All of the dark side. Now these lines I want to fill in. So this is all lines, and darker at the bottom, and then these are all lines, darker at the bottom. Lighter at the top. Okay, that is the main shape. So we need to go back, do some back of the head. We don't want to lose the detail though. So I think what I'm going to do before I go too much further on this one, because we've done the head. So I think I'm going to probably finish it up at this point, and then when we come back to it I can do all the back, the arm and the chest, and then follow down. I've got all the snaky bit which isn't drawn at all yet, just see the faint outline of it to come through. Right, okay. So, first off, I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone who stopped by the stream today and chatted out with me whilst I've done this, because that's been awesome. I don't know if there's anyone on to host at the moment. Let's have a look. Who's on doing World of Warcraft? Nobody. Well, that's the unusual thing, because of the time I've done it. Yep. Nobody else. So I wonder if there's anyone else we could do a stream for. Right, okay. What I'll do is I'll scan in where I've got to so far, and I'll put that up on my Twitter and my Discord, so you can see the progress in more detail than the camera shows. And then we'll come back to this in another creative stream later on and do some more detail further on, I think. So big thank you. Thanks everyone for stopping by today and joining me on the stream. It's been really cool. And I'm going to stream gold making tonight, so that's 10 o'clock. Is it 10 o'clock? No, 9 o'clock UK time. I believe it's 9 o'clock. Let me just double check. I can't remember my own schedule. Hold on. Let's just put that up there. Twitter. What was my schedule? I think it was 9 o'clock tonight, yes. Yes, 9 o'clock tonight. So yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. I shall see you tonight if you're around. If not, I'm around again Sunday night, streaming then as well. And then I'll put my schedule up for the rest of the week. It's going to be, I'll see how things go really, with my work schedule. I'll do that and then work backwards from there. Thank you, Hieronymus, Pop Geek, 91st, Sunny D, and Kostek. Thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you later tonight. Farewell, and have a good rest of your Saturday.